Good Sunday evening, Tennessee family. It's been a while, huh? Kyle took the I guess you call it the low road, you know? He's doing post a lot of post, which I think you guys like the post a lot too. And I don't mind you telling y'all I do use Chat GPT, but I do look at every word it is spitting out and make sure it's accurate what I want to say. You know, it's only as good as the information that you're putting on it. Okay, so I put the graphics out there and let it decide on what it wants to say, and then I monetize it for y'all. Is what I do. I actually look at it real closely. What is it saying? Is it make sense? And that's what I do with it, y'all. I don't take word for it. I really don't. Um, well, watch some great football games. That Caleb Williams, I mean, that kid played his heart out tonight, and it's rough for Chicago Bear fans, but wow, they had a great season, right? So good luck next year, I guess, Bears fans. You know, that's what you got to say. Um, it's gonna be a cold night, y'all, here in Florida. Um, real quickly, man, look at Indiana and up here in the upper, I guess you call the upper Minnesota, Wisconsin region. Man, oh man, North Dakota, South Dakota. Look at these wind chills at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Y'all, there's minus 47 degrees below zero on this graphic. Minus 40. If you've never been in cold, that cold, I can't describe to you how cold that is unless you've actually been there. I have. I have seen it. You can't even breathe. There's no way of breathing in your lungs and not hurt. There's no way of doing it. Span talking about this storm coming up, so yeah. I don't give a crap about Span, man. Honest, truly, Daniel. I mean, to me, the guy's a jerk, honestly. And I'm just being honest about it. I don't like chastising people, but I don't like him at all. Not even a little bit. Okay, I'll be honest with you, Daniel. I don't like him at all. He's very much an arrogant jerk for the most part, and I don't mind saying that on the air here. I don't like the man, honestly. Is he a good meteorologist? I don't know. For you guys that like to listen to what he says, he's not my favorite person. He's not in the meteorology world. Dennis Phillips here in Tampa Bay, I admire a lot. He's my all time favorite here in Tampa Bay is Dennis Phillips, hands down. But James Spann, no, he and I got into a major argument one day, and I lost all. What should I say it? Oh, forget it. Let's just go on. That's all I'll say. I just don't care for the man. That's all I have to say about it. And I'm a very I consider myself a very religious person, but he struck me the wrong way to say the least. He did. Y'all, but you can see how cold it is going to get here in the Ohio Valley region and up here in the Great Lakes region. I mean, just brutally cold air tomorrow morning. And down here in Tampa Bay, for us down here in Tampa and in Florida, y'all, it's going to be downright cold tomorrow morning. Look at it, 28 degrees wind chill here in Tampa. Y'all, that's for us. You don't understand how cold that is. Is it as cold as minus 5 degrees in Indianapolis? No, it's not. But when you're surrounded with water like we are here and have humidity so much higher than what it is up here, if you don't live down here, and if you don't live along the Gulf Coast states here, you don't understand it. Okay? You really don't understand what the temperature difference is between 28 degrees here and minus 5. Is there a great difference? Well, there is. It's minus 5 degrees is really cold. But let me say this: it's a dry, cold air. Down here, it is a very wet, cold air. Very wet, cold air is a big difference. Okay, it's a big difference between a dry, cold air up here. Don't get me wrong. Minus 5 degrees is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. New Orleans area, minus 29 with wind chill there. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow morning, minus 29 degrees, not minus 20, 29 degrees wind chill in New Orleans. Is that cold? Yeah, you better believe it's going to be cold. Again, the dew points there are higher than what they are up here. It is a bone-chilling 29 degrees there. Now, again, it's not as bad as minus 5. But y'all, 29 degrees probably feels like 10 degrees colder than what it actually is, even with the wind chill. Yeah, that's probably going to feel like, compared up here, like 19 degrees. Until you live along the water here and understand what I'm talking about, you all up here don't understand what it's like to live in an area where you're surrounded by water and get that humidity. I mean, the dew points here are much higher here than what they are up here. And just show you the dew points here. Let me just show you the dew points. All right, up in Indiana. Look up here. You got I'm going to give Indianapolis as an example. There is a 1 degree dew point up here. 1 degree. Look down here in Tampa Bay. Y'all, we got a 26 degree dew point. Over in New Orleans, you have a 23 degree dew point. You see what, you understand what I'm saying? When you have dew points, even though these are low dew points, when you have a 26 degree dew point, okay, with the air that we have here versus what's up here, again, there is a big difference between minus 5 and 28 degrees. But 28 degrees is going to feel like, now, keep in mind, wind chill to me and what it feels like with dew points, there's a big difference between that as well. Y'all, it's going to be cold tonight along the Gulf Coast states here. So even though it doesn't seem as bad up than what it is up here, trust me, we along the Gulf Coast states here are going to be suffering tomorrow morning. It is going to be a very, very, very cold night and tomorrow morning. Okay? And these, again, look at these dew points and look at those dew points up here. It's a different code. Until you live down here and you live up here, and I lived in both. I lived up here and I lived down here. I go up here to visit Indiana. Y'all, it's cold up there, but I tell my family up there, it's a different code than what it is down here. All right, let's go forward there now. Again, cold, yes. Now, tomorrow morning, you seen those temperatures. What is it going to look like tomorrow night? Let's look at tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, look at us again. Guys, look at us again. 28 degrees here in Tampa Bay, wind chill. Up here in Indiana, minus 5. What's the dew points look like? Here now again. 32 degrees. Look at our dew points are even higher here. You up in Indiana, you're minus 12 dew points. I mean, my gosh, you're negative 12 dew points up in the Indianapolis area. We're 32 degree dew points here. I can't stress again how big a difference that makes you feel when it comes to dew points and the air temperature. Now, keep in mind, wind chill does not really take in consideration what the dew points are. This is bone-chilling stuff here. It really is. This is below bone-chilling up here. I mean, this is crazy how bad it's going to be up here. But again, it is absolutely going to be bone-chilling down here. Real temperature here, again, tomorrow on Tuesday morning, here's the real temperature, 34, with a wind chill of 28 here in Tampa. Down in Miami-Dade area, it's a 51 degree wind chill on Tuesday morning. Why is that? You think Indiana people may have brought the cold air down with them? I think they may have, right? I think they may have. And hopefully Indiana people are going to be partying all freaking night, and they'll think that 51 degrees is like a heat wave compared to what it is up in Indiana. Okay? Let's see what happens tomorrow night. I hope let's say this. Ho, 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 Hoosiers. Okay? Is it ho, 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 Hoosiers? Let's get that right. Ho, ho, ho. Sound like Santa Claus, didn't I? You know, my voice is about gone, honestly, it is. Getting through the holiday and all the congestion out in this area, we got a lot of crazy stuff that's hitting us here with the flu bug and stuff here in Tampa Bay. I can tell you that right now. Okay, let's go forward now. I'm going to get into it now as to what is going to happen here. Now, if you look at the Weather Prediction Center, okay, on Friday, they're forecasting a winter event. Now, they're not showing a majorly strong winter event at this time from the Weather Prediction Center. They're calling this a minor ice problem at this time. They're calling this a minor ice problem. If you look at if I go to the moderate stage, notice there's nothing there. If I go to the next day over, they're getting a little bit more stronger there for Saturday, right? So when you go to moderate stage on Saturday, it becomes a little bit more predominant there, as you can see. Is there anything for major? Currently, right now, nothing is showing up here for major. Y'all, that's not what the models are showing, though. Okay? Now, what does the Weather Prediction Center and the National Weather Service do? Boy, they tend to what? Take baby steps, right? Now, this is 5, 6 to 7 days out, isn't it? Well, it is. It's 5 to 6, 7 days out. So, how bad is this potential winter storm going to be? Okay, how bad is the potential winter storm going to be? Again, if you go to 5, 6, 7 days out, you look at the weather, the National Weather Service, they're showing it there. 6 days out, they're showing it there as well. Again, this is winter weather impacts. Go to 7 days out, then it's getting more predominant over here. Okay, so you can see the National Weather Service and the Weather Prediction Center, okay, is giving the potential for some winter precip down in the south here, okay? Now I'm going to go to the models. Now, what I'm going to show you first is the European model. And I'm going to go to the central region first, because that's where everything starts over here and works its way to the east, right? We know that's the way it works. And what I'm going to put up here, I'm going to put up snow first. Okay, so let's watch the snow potential here on the European model. Is there a snowstorm going to happen? You can see the snow there on Wednesday, going through a little bit of snow there in Kentucky and Tennessee, just a little bit, just a smidgen of it. Now you look out west back here, Oklahoma, Kansas. You see a snowstorm developing. Look at it. Look there, you all in Texas. Again, this is Saturday at 1 p.m. Look at there in Texas and Oklahoma. Moving through Arkansas. Arkansas, man, are you going to get drilled by snow? Boy, that's what it's showing. So what happens south of that snow line? What do you think is going to happen? Here's what the European model is putting out currently. Y'all, it's putting out a monster size. And I do mean a monster size ice storm south of the snow line. Now, can that go north and can it move south? Of course it can. Of course it can. It absolutely can. So, look at the ice accumulation here in the south. Y'all, that's 2.36 inches of freezing rain across Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas here. That's 2.36 inches of freezing rain in area. What is crippling freezing rain? How much freezing rain do you must get before it brings down limbs across power lines? What is that fraction? Do you know what it is? It's a half an inch. When you get to 3/4 of an inch, it gets severe. What do you think 2.36 inches would do? Y'all, this would be absolutely catastrophic. And I do mean catastrophic power losses if this were to happen. Catastrophic. James is saying wind chill does take in consideration of dew points. James, I don't know how much consideration it really does, though. Um, it's more of the air temperature versus the wind speed is really how uh, of what the wind chill is consideration. I guess to a certain degree it does take consideration on dew points, but man, I tell you what, I lived in Tampa, I lived up here. There's a big difference in what it feels. I'm just telling you what facts, the way it feels. It probably does, but it is brutal, y'all. And James is correct. Even a quarter of an inch of freezing rain brings down power lines. And how much wind? That's another thing. You get this much freezing rain, and how much wind is going to be in this area in this process? Man, I'm telling you right now. If let's go back and look at this wind gust. All right, I'm gonna stop it right here. Now I'm looking right there. On Friday and Saturday, there is showing 31-mile-per-hour wind gusts moving through Texas into Arkansas and Louisiana. Y'all see that wind gust? Can you imagine having 2 inches of freezing precipitation on power lines with 31-mile-per-hour wind gusts? What that's going to do to this area? Y'all, when I say catastrophic power losses here, I mean beyond catastrophic. I mean, you're looking at power losses here that's not hours, not days. We could be looking at weeks of power losses in this area. Now, God forbid this happens. I'm not here to hype this up at all, y'all. You know, I don't do those things. All I can do is show you what the models are giving us. I just showed you what the wind gust was. Can you imagine that kind of wind gust in this sector right here where it shows 2 inches of freezing rain? You go over to the east. Is a freezing rain happening? What absolutely? Look at this. Look what we got here. Look, going through Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Look at that region right there. That's all 2 inches of freezing rain here that the European model is spitting out. Y'all, this is a major, and I do mean a major catastrophic example that the European model is spitting out right now. Is this going to happen? You know, we got to watch these models real closely. Honestly, we got to watch these models super close. This will be absolutely catastrophic for not just Texas, not just Louisiana, Arkansas, not just Mississippi, but look at Alabama, look at Georgia, look at South Carolina, look at North Carolina. Y'all, if this happens over a large sector like this, I don't care how many people come from Indiana, from Florida to help out. There's not going to be enough power companies that can send enough people to help us out. This is a major, major freezing rainstorm. And again, freezing rain here. Where's that snow line at? Just the north, right there. Look at that snow line. Look at the snow line. Look at the freezing rain line. Either way you want to look at it. Look what the European model is spitting out. A snowstorm from hell up here and a freezing rain line down here. So, I'll say this, y'all, and this is not way far out there in time. This is only 7 days out, y'all. It's not like it's way out there in time. Now, can this model still be wrong? Of course the European model can still be wrong. Let's look at the GFS model. Is it giving us anything similar to that? Let's look at it. Here's the GFS. Here's a freezing rain. Look where it's at. It's further south. It's a little bit further south, isn't it? Look at that. Freezing rain line is further south. Look at the freezing rain here across Texas here. It's 1.72 inches on the GFS model. Now the freezing rain line is further south. Where's the snow line at? Well, it's going to be north of there, right? We know, we're smart enough to understand that. Where's the snow line? There it is. There's your snow line. Look at the snow line going across there. Again, where's that freezing rain line at here? Which is south of the snow line. There it goes. Sleet. Now, an awful lot of sleet. Now, this is what's really interesting. How much of this sleet might be freezing rain? How much of this sleet might be snow? Or how much this might be really sleet? Let's go to back to the European model. Let's look at the sleet model on it. Let's watch this sleet. How much sleet is it putting down? I would say not all that much sleet. There is some major sleet going through Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee here. As you see, that's 4 inches of sleet there in Tennessee, y'all. 4 inches of sleet. Now, is that really going to be sleet? Or would that be snow? Or would that might be what? Freezing rain. Or would that really be sleet? You see the problem at hand? Boy, these models, the models are horrible. I do mean horrible about predicting snow, sleet, and freezing rain lines. They are horrible about predicting it. You gotta wait. We gotta wait. Now, when is this coming in? You see, y'all, it comes in Friday, Saturday. Next Friday, Saturday timeline is when this all comes into play. So it's not like it's 10 days out. It's not like it's 12 days out. No. This is 6 to 7 days out. These models get pretty good. What does the Canadian model look like with this stuff? Let's look at it. Canadian model, there's your sleet. You see the sleet line right there. Quite abundance of sleet, isn't there? A lot of sleet. Look at that. Look how much sleet the Canadian model is putting down almost 4 inches of sleet in that area. Now, where is the snow line here on the Canadian model? It's right there. There's your snow line. You go to the east. There's your snow line. Where is that sleet line there at on this? There's your sleet line right there. So where's your freezing rain line? Well, it's going to be right there, mixed in with the sleet, and it's going to be south of there. How much freezing rain is it putting down? Are you ready? 1.93 inches in this sector here. Okay? You go back here to Texas. Let me go to the South Central region. It's 1.93 inches. What it's showing there. That's going across Louisiana and Texas right there. So, what do we think is going to happen here? Y'all, we got all three of the major models, meaning the GFS, the European, and the Canadian model, is putting a crazy winter event coming into play here in the South. And I do mean a crazy winter event. I'll say this for you guys in the South. If you've thought about getting a generator, I would highly tell you to go ahead and get one, maybe, if you thought about getting one. If you thought about it. Especially if you're in this freezing rain line. Especially so. Because, guys, if this freezing rain pans out to be true, let's just subtract 50% from each model. The Canadian model is putting down 1.93. I'll go through this. The GFS model is putting it down 1.83. The European model is putting down, let me get it total amount up here. I gotta go to the 12Z run and go further out. I'll stop it right there at 180 hours out. The European model is putting down 2.44. So y'all, I'm just doing a quick math, okay? Just quick math. 2.44, 1.8, and then was about 1.6 or 1.78. So y'all, if I just subtract 50% from the average, what do we have? Guys, we have almost, with the average here, almost 1.25 inches of freezing rain. Is that catastrophic? It is. Which means many of you will have no power, and I do mean no power for days. It's not a hourly thing with no power. It's not days without power. Y'all, some of y'all might be weeks with no power. I hate to use the word weeks as in plural, But those of you in Kentucky and in Arkansas, and those of you that lived in the western part of Tennessee near Memphis area, do y'all remember that freezing rain event that hit you guys there? Those of you that lived through that area right here in Arkansas and Tennessee, tell everybody how many weeks you went without power. Just tell everybody, how many weeks did you guys go without power in this sector? How many weeks was it? That was a small area. They got that kind of freezing rain. Look how large an area we're talking about here. You think the electric companies can restore that much power over a large area like this? Guys, we're looking at a major catastrophic power loss event here coming into play. I don't know if this is really going to happen or not. I have no idea. And I don't mean to scare y'all or hype us up, but I can tell you one thing. If this happens, like these, and we got all three of the global models showing that basically painting the same picture. It's painting the same picture, y'all. At this time, I would say this. There's higher than a 50% probability that we're going to have some people within this red area right here that the European model is showing right here that's going to go weeks without no power. Can you go weeks without no power with cold air? It's going to be in place. Can you do that? Man, y'all lived in Texas here when you had that freezing rain event that happened here before. You guys, some of y'all with no power there for a few days, in some cases, several days. What did that do? Well, those of you that lost power, what happened? Your lines freezing broke, didn't they? Guys, if you have the ability to get a generator and have ability to have a heat source from that generator, I would highly convince you to do so. If you get a kerosene heater, now be careful with these things. These things are dangerous to heat inside your home with. They're very, very dangerous things of heat sources. Okay? They're very dangerous heat sources. But I highly convince you, if you have some means of a heat source, I would certainly look into it, y'all. That's all I can say right now. What's going to happen here tonight with these models as they update tonight? Y'all, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm a model guidance person. I believe in model guidance. As the models change, so do I. I hope and pray that tomorrow morning when we get up, this is all gone. I don't likely think that's going to happen with three different models showing us kind of the same stuff. But I certainly hope that this is not nearly as crazy, venomous looking freezing rainstorm that this showing here. Y'all, I hope and pray this does not come to tuition as to what these models are giving us right now. This is bad. I can't stress enough. This is bad stuff. This is bad. And I'm not here to hype this up. I'm not here. I don't have to hype it up. All I'm going to do is show you what the models give us. Tomorrow morning we'll come back. Okay. Tomorrow morning I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what the models show again. And I hope to God that we do not see this kind of freezing rainstorm that's being manifested from these models right now. All you got to do is look at all the models put together. Here's the National Blended models. Now, what the National Blended models do, what does it give us? It gives us ice accumulation. Look at the ice accumulation here. Now, what's ice accumulation? This is like considering, well, it's hard to describe. It's ice accumulation is what it is, as exactly as I describe it. And if you go to the east, so you look at what the National Blended model is doing. It's showing us this ice storm over a very large area, right? It's showing a very large ice storm. Now, ice accumulation up here in Indiana, as an example. What could that be? That could be 0.4 inches of rain, which could manifest into snow. What would that give them up there? 0.4 inches? It might give them an inch or two of snow is what that might give them up in Indiana as an example. Okay, it's just an example. Now again, this is National Buena Models. What does that mean? Well, some of the models, as an example, the short range models are not far enough out there yet, are they? We don't know what that's going to be. What do we need? We need the short range models. We need the HR model, we need the RFS model, and we need the NAM model to give us an idea as to how bad this is going to be. When will we know that? Probably by Wednesday or Thursday, y'all. I'll have a better idea as to how bad this is going to be. Otherwise, over the next couple of days, we're all detrimental to what the GFS, European, and the Canadian model is putting out. Yeah, Christy, it will be big enough for a huge ice rink, unfortunately. Tim, will people freeze with no power in Texas? All right, let's look at that. Okay, let's look at how cold is it going to get after this ice storm, because that's really important part of the puzzle here to understand, right? Well, you can see what on Sunday. Let's go back here to Saturday. Let's go to Saturday at 7 o'clock in the morning. And let me put up real temperature. Okay, this is the real temperature. You can see where the temperature forecast is. Now, let me go to the European model. Okay, let's look at this European model. Again, here's a freezing rain line. Let me get to it. Let me put up that freezing rain again. I think it's best to use a freezing rain line on the European model right now as a pure guidance level to be used here. Okay, there's a freezing rain. Man, look at the freezing rain across the south here. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, that's crazy. I'm sorry. That's just crazy stuff here. How much freezing rain is putting down here. Okay, there's a freezing rain. Okay, so let's now go. Okay, this is Sunday at 7 p.m. Okay, now when does that freezing rain hit there in Texas and Louisiana? There it is right there. Okay, let's go to 7 o'clock in the morning when there may not be any power in this area here on Sunday morning. Let's look and see what the temperature is. So in that area right there, you're about 26 degrees there in Louisiana and over here in Texas, where that crazy almost 3 inches of freezing rain is showing up here. 26 degrees with a wind chill. Look at this wind chill of 14 to 16 degrees wind chill. Ouch. Now, what does it look like on Monday morning at 7 a.m.? And do we ever get above 32 degrees? We don't. Look at Sunday. That's 1 p.m. There's 7 p.m. Y'all, we don't get above. Let's see, hopefully here. Let's look at the real temperature here. Yeah, we do get above 32 degrees there. 35 degrees there in Louisiana area. Okay, now let's look at what the temperature is going to be at 7 a.m. on Monday morning when nobody may not have any power. 7 a.m. in that sector right there, that's 25 degrees with a wind chill of 17 to 20. Yo, that's brutal. That's just absolutely brutal conditions. All right, let's see. Is this going to retreat some? Are we going to get a warm up? Here's Tuesday morning. There's Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Wind chill of 26 to 27. How about Wednesday morning at 7 a.m.? Now I'm seeing a little bit warmer temperatures. We're getting up in the 40s. 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning, we're about 32 degrees. So we're above freezing wind chill here in the area. But you see what's happening here, y'all. There is some very, very, very cold temperatures here for almost about a 3 to 4 day period before things get better. Now look where the snow line is up here. Look how cold it is up there in the Tennessee Valley region. Boy, oh boy. I mean, that's just brutal. Look at the below zero temperatures here for wind chill. What was this up here? That's where the snow is at, right? Where that snow is on the ground. Look where that snow is on the ground right there. Look at this. Y'all, look at the snow. There is almost 21.7 inches of snow in areas here. across Arkansas, Tennessee, almost the whole state of Tennessee, almost all of North Carolina, Virginia, getting there in the Kentucky region. I mean, just a crazy amount of snowfall here. So, y'all, no matter where you look at it, the European model is putting down a crazy winter storm here. Any way you want to look at it. Yeah, Christy, it's 3 days of freezing. That's basically about the way you got to look at it. 3 to 4 days of freezing. That's about the truth of it. And I would say this: I am not a bit wanting y'all to go out and spend money and get by in a generator or a means of some type of power supply. My brother bought a propane heater up in Indiana. He got one for his house, just in case of crazy things happens up there. Um, y'all, I don't know what the answer is here. I don't know what's going to happen. But again, if you've been thinking about getting one and you have the means of getting a generator, I would encourage you to probably go ahead and buy one. If nothing happens, you got a generator. Okay, that's the way I look at it. Nothing happens, you have a generator. If nothing happens, you could probably return a generator. Most retailers will probably let you return it if nothing happens and you want to free back up that cash. But y'all, again, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. But I do know one thing: there's going to be a monster winter storm somewhere. I think that is pretty well. I think we're pretty well fixed. Over the next 7 days, we are going to see a bad, bad, bad winter storm here manifest. Probably coming into play about Friday, Saturday timeline of next week. And that's what the models are showing right now, y'all. All right, here's what we're gonna do though. Let's not worry about this right now. Unless you want to buy a generator, then I'll tell you go out there and get one real fast because your area may sell out of generators real quickly here. That's just the truth. There's no sugarcoating. That's probably what's going to happen. There's going to be a run on generators if the social media pages start talking about this thing, and I suspect they will. I suspect they will. But let's not worry about the what ifs yet, because this is a what if right now, and that's the truth. And that's the reason I'm saying I don't want to hype this up into something that may not exactly happen yet. When it comes to winter weather, these models are very bad about forecasting winter weather, guys. That's just the truth of it. And I can't stress that enough. These models may be wrong. Okay, they may be. But when you got all three of them kind of convincing me that something wintry is going to happen, probably, I would say the probability of a winter storm, of a major winter storm, is probably going to manifest. Where exactly that line might be, that's going to be subject to the what if shit. We don't know yet. So let's chill out a little bit. Let's not get anxiety attacks or anything. We don't need anybody taking a Valium tablet tonight for this. And let's come back tomorrow. We'll go. I have nothing really going on tomorrow unless I go to Miami. My son-in-law's on standby about going taking the monorail from Orlando down to Miami, going to the game if the tickets get fairly cheap yet. So I don't know if that's going to happen yet, but I'll know that tomorrow morning if the tickets fall overnight, and I suspect they will. Um, let's come back. Let's plan on coming back at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Eastern Standard Time, and we'll go look at these models. What are they going to say? Y'all, I suspect, honestly, truly, I've been doing this a long time. When you got three model guidances of major models like this, kind of showing the same stuff, I suspect we're probably going to see something very similar to what the models are giving us right now. It's going to change some. They always do. They always do. But I suspect they're going to give us kind of something similar to what they're showing right now. But let's not worry about the what ifs that we don't exactly know yet. Okay, because we do need those short range models to come into play. And as James said, the GFS is updating now. Let's see what the GFS is showing us right now, James. And is it far enough out yet? It's not. All right, let's stay live here for a minute. So we need to get out there about 144 to about 60 hours out. We're at the 63-hour mark. Now this model updates fairly fast, okay? It truly does. It updates pretty quickly. Let's stick with this and let's just see as to how fast it's out to 69 hours out. So you see how fast this thing updates. Um, let's stay live here for the next 15 minutes, because in about 15 minutes this thing should update and probably give us what's going to happen here with this. Let me hit the auto refresh button here, and this will give us, let's see what it's at. We're at 69 hours out right now, and I got freezing rain up here. I could put snowfall up here if I wanted to. Let's just lay snow up here. Snow's out to 72 hours out. So let's watch this. See how fast this thing updates? It updates pretty fast, y'all. It really does. So I have the auto update button out there on it right now. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what the WPC ends up putting out here, too. That too, is going to be interesting to see. If you look at what it shows, it does not show a major impact or extremely bad storm yet, does it? What does it show? It shows moderate. It's got a moderate storm. Okay, it shows moderate. If it goes to hit minor, then it expands outward. So the Weather Prediction Center, who forecasts this, okay, they are not giving us at this time a major or an extreme weather event to take place. Not like what the models are showing. Now again, what do these guys do? What do? They take baby steps, y'all. They take baby steps is what they do. And I suspect that's exactly what they're doing right now again. They're taking baby steps. So watch them tomorrow. See, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll watch them. See, what did they say? Are they? They're looking at the same models what I'm showing you. They're looking at the exact same amount. You can see the snowfall amounts there from the WPC. You can see the snow line there from them. There's the snow line right there from them. So you see, it's kind of getting the snow lines right through there. So where would the freezing rain line and sleet be? Y'all be right there in that sector right there, wouldn't it be? That's where it'd be. That's where the freezing rain and sleet line would be at. All right, let's look at the GFS model. Where are we at to now? 72 hours yet. Okay, let me hit freezing rain here once again. Let's see where it's at. 72 hours also, so that's good. Let's just stick it out here. If you guys don't want to hang with me for a few minutes here, we'll look and see what the GFS is doing here on this update here. Let's see if it's giving us that. Oh man, I hate to say a major freezing rain event, but that's exactly what we're looking at here. A major freezing rain event. It's out to 75 hours right now. I thought this here would update. I hit the. Guess it doesn't. Okay, as this updates, we just got to wait it out. It probably takes about another 45 minutes before it comes out fully, but we will probably get it within that time zone in about 15 minutes here. So I'm gonna hold on here for about 15 minutes here. We're gonna hold on here for about 15 minutes here. So who's going to be yelling for the Hoosiers tomorrow? I still can't believe the price of these tickets. I'm going to look at the price of these tickets here while I'm watching here. See if there's any chance I'm going to buy a ticket for myself and my son. You know, something crazy, what I was told, and I don't know how much I can believe in this right now. But I was told that some of the people in Miami bought a bunch of these tickets up and posted them out there for these ridiculous prices, knowing that they weren't even going to go to the game just to try to make a profit off the people from Indiana. And then what they're going to do is tomorrow, they're going to sell these tickets for like $300 to $500. A lot of these will go from $3,000 plus to $300 to $500, knowing that the Miami people would buy the tickets just to keep the Indiana fans from going. Now, what's going to happen tomorrow? It's too late for Indiana fans to get here, right? They, unless they're hopping on a jet and just coming down, hoping they can buy a ticket once they get there. And either way you look at it, y'all, it's wrong. It's really just wrong. Jenny's asking how my knee is. So those of you who don't know, I have what's called a Baker cyst behind my knee. I found this out from the doctor. And what a Baker cyst is, I have a cyst behind my knee that's about the size of an egg. And what happens is that cyst fills with fluid, and then after it fills with fluid, it explodes. And when it explodes, it feels like a pop in my knee. And when it pops, all the fluid is released, and my knee swells really. I mean, y'all wouldn't believe how bad my knee swells when it pops. And then what happens? That process starts all over again. All over again. It starts all over again. And the doctor looked at me on Thursday, and he says, "Man," he said, I wish I had better news." I said, "Well, can you operate on it to fix it?" He said, "It can't." He said, "There's been experimental surgeries on this before. There's no way of fixing this." I said, "Can you drain it?" He said, "Nope. Wouldn't even try to because it's where knee replacement is. We don't want to get infection in that knee replacement area." I said, "So what did he tell me, doc?" He said, "Well, it's very simple." He said, this Baker cyst will pop and it will come back. It'll pop and it'll come back. Now, one of these days, it's going to pop. It might be tomorrow. It might be the next day, or it might be 10 years now. But eventually, that knee will pop. That Baker cyst will pop, and it won't come back. He said, "I just can't tell you when that pop is going to happen where it don't come back. There's no way of telling that." It's the craziest thing you ever heard in your life, y'all. And I said, "How did this happen?" He said, "Good question. It's caused by trauma to the knee." Well, what I had a knee replacement. That's probably pretty good trauma, I would think, right? And the sad part is, this cyst is setting where? It's setting right on my nerve that goes from the back of my leg. Where's it go? It goes all the way down to my foot. So when I had that when I have this horrible pain in my foot, what's that caused from? It's caused from that Baker cyst that's setting on that nerve, causing the nerve obstruction. He told me, he said, "Tim," he said, this is once in a lifetime thing." He said, "I've never had this ever happen to any of my patients in all the years." And he feels so bad, but I've just been dealt a kind of a bad card here, and I'm gonna deal with it, and it's probably gonna cause me to retire faster than I want to, and if that happens, so be it. But that's what it is. It's called a Baker cyst. Crazy thing you ever hear in your life, I know. So that's when I come home from here the other day, as an example, I was going to do a live broadcast. My wife and I went out to dinner. I got out of the car. What happens? The cyst popped on me as I got out of the car going into the restaurant to eat. I told my wife, I said, "Oh, I can't believe this happened." She says, "What?" I said, "It popped." And this is the day I came back from the doctor after he told me. So I got in the restaurant, I was eating there, and I told my wife, I said, this leg is swelling so quickly, it's crazy. I could hardly walk out to the car. A gentleman had to help me get to the car to drive home with my wife. This is a fact. And so therefore, when I got home, I had to prop my knee up above my head. That's the other thing. In order to get the swelling to go down, ice pack is not going to help. Heating pad is not going to help. I have to elevate my leg above my leg, above my head. So that day when I was going to do a live broadcast, couldn't do it, y'all. I had to put my head, my knee above my head so I can get some drainage on my thing, even to walk to my bedroom. That's how bad it was. So right now, the Baker cyst is saying there it wasn't doing its collecting fluid. It's not popped. So therefore, I can set up here in my chair, computer desk chair, and do this live broadcast. But one of these days, it's going to pop on a day that I want to do a live broadcast. And what it's going to do? Well, I'm going to cancel that broadcast because I can't do it. And James, from now on, please don't go out there and just put out there randomly that I'm going to do a live broadcast without conversing with me first. Because, bro, in 5 minutes time frame, things can change that fast with me. And it's crazy here. I challenge you all to Google Baker cyst and just read about it. Baker cyst, Bakers, Baker cyst, CYST. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, we're out to 99 hours, out to 102 hours on snow. Freezing rain is out to how many hours out? It's 99 hours out. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Compression socks don't help a bit, Jeff. It doesn't help a bit. I've wore compression socks for over a year, and I thought I've tried it and it hurts worse because what is it doing? It's compressing on the back of my leg, and where unless maybe if I wore thigh high compression socks, it might help some. I don't know. I've not tried that. But I've tried everything, man. Honestly, I've tried everything. I have these boots that I put on that goes all the way over my thighs on both legs, and it heats up and it also compresses air into them. That will help me drain out the fluid out of my whole leg area. Because y'all, when I say my leg swells, I'm not talking about just my knee. I'm talking about all the way down to my ankle swell something fierce like. It is beyond craziness. So I have. Victoria says I have to schedule a knee replacement. I would say this, Victoria, don't be scared of a knee replacement. And that's what Dr. Craythorne told me. He said, Tim, I know you need a knee replacement on that other knee. He said the odds of this happen to you on that other knee is so low, it's crazy. I have so many friends, guys, that's had knee replacements, not had any speck of trouble at all. None. This was a unique situation that happened. Now, there was a thing that happened during the operation where he put the wrong size knee in, had to take it out during the operation, and put a second knee in. Did that have any influence on that from the trauma part of it? It may have. It may have. It probably may have did. Probably did. But I don't know that. There's no way of proving something like that. I have no way of knowing it. And that's the other thing, Victoria. I had a complete meniscus when I had this knee replacement done. My knee collapsed and I had a complete meniscus tear. Well, I already knew I needed a knee replacement, and then at that point the doctor said, "Why? You got a choice. I can go in there and repair your meniscus, but it's going to happen right over again, Tim." He said, "If you want to do a knee replacement, now's the time." And I said, "Let's do it." And that's what I did. 2.5 years ago, we did a knee replacement. All right, we're starting to see the freezing rain come into play. Here it is. We're on Friday. That's this coming Friday, the 23rd. Now you're starting to see the freezing rain happening here in Texas. Let's look at the snow totals now. See what it looks like. There's your snow. Look how phenomenal this is. There's your snow totals to the north, and where's the freezing rain happening at? Just to the south. So now we're starting to get this into play. This is again. It starts off on Friday. That's when it starts to begin. This is matter of fact. It's 4 p.m. on Friday. 4 p.m. on Friday. So that means the cold air is rushing in. Cold air is rushing in. Stephanie Abrams always talks about the hamburger effect. How many layers of hamburger do we have? Well, we kind of got 3 layers of that hamburger: the upper levels, the mid levels, and the lower levels. Well, in this case, what do we have? If you get freezing rain, you might have colder air aloft, causing snow. Okay, then it warms in the middle. Okay, and then there's a cold air pocket at the surface. So therefore, it comes down maybe as freezing rain or snow. And when it gets to the middle, it melts back to freezing rain. Then when it gets to the surface is below 32 degrees. So in the middle, it's above 32 degrees. Then when it gets to the surface, right at the surface, it's below 32 degrees. And some people say, well, how in the world does that happen, Tim? Boy, that is meteorology at its finest right there is what that is. But that is the way it works. Okay, we're out to 117 hours out. This is 4 p.m. on Friday. So we're getting there, y'all. It's updating. Just give it a little time. Now we're getting there it is at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. Now you can see that freezing rain starting up here. Now where was it at 1 a.m. on the last run? Let's go back to that last run. Let's see what 1 o'clock in the morning looked like. Now look what it looks. Now the freezing rain is not nearly as bad here. At 1 look at that last update. The freezing rain was much worse, wasn't it? So on this current run, it's not quite as bad. Now, is that a good thing? Well, it is. Of course it is. So the freezing rain is not coming in. Now, what could that mean? Well, that could mean that it might be a little bit of a delay factor coming into play here, which means that the model here is running a little bit further behind compared to what the previous run was. That's a possibility. And as a matter of fact, the GFS and European model, there was a little bit of a difference in the timeline. So that may be exactly what's happening here. Let's see though. Let's watch it. So let's see if this doesn't start filling a purplish shade here pretty soon. Oh, for sure, Jeff. You'd want 4 inches of sleet versus freezing rain for sure. Oh, you don't. No, 4 inches of sleet would be far better. Okay, than oh, see now we're getting that pinkish purple filling. Look down here. So look what's happening here. Now we're getting that purple. See, we're already up to a 0.4 inches of freezing rain right here. 0.4 inches in right going through the right heart of Texas here. So the GFS is running a little bit behind hour wise, is what it is. It looks like currently. Yeah, you would. I'd rather get 4 inches of freezing rain than even a half an inch of. I'd rather get 4 inches of sleet than a half an inch of freezing rain. Look how it happened there now. Now see how the darker pink's filling in. Now we're up to a half an inch of freezing rain. What is that? Well, that's getting power outages right there. Half an inch is gonna give power outages, guys. Half an inch is power outage problems. Let's look at the snow line here now. See where it's at. Well, look at that. Look how the pink, darker pinks. It's not coming. This is not coming any different. I can already tell the way it's acting. Snow lines up here. Freeze sleet line is going to be south of that, and then there. Look at the sleet line, and then here's the freezing rain. We're up to 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain in that area right there. 3/4 of an inch. Lord God. This is at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Is where we're at right now. 1 p.m. Saturday is where it's the GFS showing up. Yeah, Jeff, there is a big difference between sleet and freezing rain and snow. Everybody knows the difference, I think, between snow and freezing rain. But there's a difference how it falls through the atmosphere. Sleet will start up in the upper levels of the atmosphere as rain, and then as it comes through, that rain droplets freeze. Is what happens is. And then the atmosphere is still pretty cold, okay, near the surface, okay, and it will fall then as ice pellets or sleet. Freezing rain is it starts out as maybe as snow in the upper levels, and then the atmosphere at the middle warms up is above 32 degrees, and then when it gets to the surface, okay, has a pocket of cold air at the surface that's below 32 degrees. So therefore, it drops down as freezing rain. Snow happens when in upper levels it comes down as a snowflake. In the middle levels, it is a snowflake, and in the lower levels, it remains a snowflake. So therefore, it falls as a snowflake, and that's the primary difference between a snowflake, a sleet, and freezing rain. That's absolutely the difference between the two. Now, I do have, while we're watching at this, I have up here, if I can find it here. Let me find ice storm potential here. Here, this is a great index. This is for ice, freezing rain. This is for freezing rain, guys. Now, look what we're looking at here. This is ice damage. This is an ice damage index, okay? Now, let's just look what we're talking about here. So, what we seen up here a few minutes ago, okay, before we were watching this GFS going live right here. If you get here, what did I say wind gust was going to be earlier? What did I say it was going to be? We had 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, what it showed, right? What's catastrophic damage at 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts here? Look what it is. Even at half an inch to 3/4 of a freezing rain. If we don't get much wind, okay, at all, okay, let's just say we don't get much wind at all. Let's say we have maybe less than, let's just say 15-mile-per-hour wind gust. What causes power outages? There it is right there. Half to 3/4 of an inch will cause power outages. Numerous power interruptions occur, okay, when you have, listen to this, 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch with greater than 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. With 1/4 of an inch to a half an inch, if you have wind gusts between 25 to 35 miles an hour, what does that mean? Numerous utility interruptions with damage to main feeder lines. Outages lasting, what does that say? 1 to 5 days. Okay, let's go down to category 4. Okay? What's category 4? Remember, we seen wind at 30 miles an hour, didn't we? 30-mile-per-hour wind, right? Let's just go this line right here. What does that do? From a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch with wind gusts of 25 to 35 miles an hour. What does that say? Prolonged and widespread utility interruptions with extensive damage to main disruption feeder lines and some voltage transmissions. Outages lasting, what does that say? 5 to 10 days. That's almost 2 weeks, isn't it? Then down here to category 5. The worst. The worst of the worst. The worst of the worst. Now, what do we have power? What do we have power of? What did it say? We had almost 2.5 inches of freezing rain. What does that say? Greater than 1.5 inches of freezing rain with no wind. With no wind. Catastrophic damages to entire exposed utility systems, including both disruption and transmission networks. Outages could last, what does that say? Several weeks in some areas. Shelters needed. Now you see what I'm scared about, y'all? You don't have to have any wind at all if you get greater than 1.5 inches of freezing rain. Greater than 1.5 inches of freezing rain is absolutely catastrophic damages. My gosh, if you get 2 inches of freezing rain with 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, what is that going to cause? It ain't just going to be snapping limbs and lines. It's everything's coming down, y'all. Everything's coming down. Okay, let's look at the GFS model now. This is still updating, it looks like. We're out to 162 hours out. And wow, we got, look at this. We have 1.58. We have over an inch and a half of freezing rain right in the middle of Texas right there. Inch and a half. Inch and a half, y'all. Catastrophic stuff. I mean, absolutely catastrophic stuff. Now, let's just stop it here for a second. Let's look at the wind. What's the wind look like? Y'all, look at this wind. Look at the wind. What does that say? Look at this. I'm going to zoom in here. What do we got? We got over 30-mile-per-hour wind, y'all. Over 30-mile-per-hour wind right there. Look at that. 30-mile-per-hour wind right where that crazy freezing rain is happening at. Y'all, this is not a good, this is not, and I mean, I repeat, this is not a good update coming in. There's your wind, there's your snow line. Here's your freezing rain line. 1.58, you can see it right there, 1.58. Where's it at? It's right there. Y'all, I'm not gonna hold you up any longer here. It looks like it's gonna come in just as bad as it was before. The only difference is a little bit, the timing is coming in a little bit different what it was before, but it's kind of in the same area. Look, if you go to back to the 18Z run, where's it at? Look at that. It's not changed a bit, has it? It's not changed a bit. Look at that. Look at the difference. 1.56 inches. What happens if I go further out in time? Again, this is GFS. Let me go back to the East Coast here now. What does it show? Again, the GFS model is not nearly quite as bad. I repeat, is not as bad as the European model when it comes to freezing rain. Snow is pretty bad. Snow is really big. Sleet is crazy bad. You see the sleet storm back there. Crazy sleet. I mean, 3 inches of sleet. But is that really going to happen? Well, might that be freezing rain or snow? That's what we don't know. Might have moved a little bit more south, Linda. It might have. Yeah, I think it may have moved a little bit further south. I think it did. It looked like it did. Again, though, this is GFS model. Wait and see what the European model does overnight. So, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here. We've seen enough. I think we've seen enough of what this thing's. Again, a lot of unknown factors here yet. Lots of unknowns. But man, that's showing 1.83 inches of freezing rain in that area. 1.83. Absolutely catastrophic stuff with 30-mile-per-hour wind gust. I mean, absolutely catastrophic. I can't stress that enough. Now, that may not be exactly where this happens at here, y'all. I can't stress that enough. This is gonna be subject to error. It's gonna be subject to error. It's not locked into place. It is not. All right, y'all. I'll see you guys at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. Have a good night, everyone, and may God bless you all.